Children are the most keen learners. They're forever eager to know more. They're always curious, asking 100 questions. They want to know the why, the how, and the where of everything around them. Now, when Aristotle says that we are what we repeatedly do, this coincides with the definition of learning. What is learning? Learning means simply acquiring some new behavior or a skill or an ability or a value. When we learn something new, we practice it, and this is how it becomes a change in us. So learning basically means change. When you apply that new knowledge, that new skill, that new ability, then that leads to a new behavior. And this is how learning becomes a change. But if we do not apply it, if we do not use it, then it is not a permanent change. It's a semi-permanent change. We learn about it, we listen to it, and we forget. So the trick is not only having children learn new skills and new behavior, but to apply it as well. And this kind of learning, this kind of change takes place through a lot of practice and reinforcement. If we don't practice, then learning is not permanent. So this is why Aristotle says so beautifully that we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence, you can read that for learning, then is not an act but a habit. Anticipation of pleasure is the key to all learning. There couldn't be a more true statement with regards to learning amongst children. You see, if we build an anticipation for a learning experience for the child, be it at home or at school, at play, learning is a lightningly quick affair and a permanent affair in children. If children find that whatever task they're going to be learning, if it's a boring thing, they just switch off. They just turn off from the instructions, from the mood, from the moment. Now just consider as an example, if you are at home and you go to teach your child a new skill, let's say something as common, as ordinary as learning to tie your shoelaces. Well, you got to build it up, build the excitement up. Oh my, these pink laces. Oh my, these dotted laces. You mean to say that Anya is going to learn how to tie them up all on her own? You think these laces are going to listen to what Anya is going to tell them? You think they're going to be able to maneuver, go left, in, out, right from your hands? Make it exciting for the child. Children love newness because it excites the neurons into action. Now, what do neurons do? Neurons are basically transmitters which receive the stimuli from the environment and transmit it to the brain. The brain processes this information, the stimuli, and gets the motor neurons into action. So this is how a learning experience is built. And when there is newness in the command, newness in the routine, newness in the task, newness in the stimuli, the neurons, you can say, they just get into a dancing mode. They just get more active. The synapses are more active and they tend to work faster. So this is how children love newness. Boring, same old routines, they tend to put the neurons off to sleep mode, if I can say so. So the trick is not to, keep inventing new things. That's not it. It is just to put new life into the same routine. For example, the routine of getting up early in the morning. So one day it could be a special hug. Another day it could be a hand signal. Another day it could be a puppet. So thereby, what do? You are bringing newness into the routine. So the stimuli is getting charged up and sending the right message to the brain, and the action is, the children are ready to learn, routines are good, and they're ready to learn more. Repetition. Now what happens during repetition is that a skill is practiced, rehearsed, imitated till it becomes easier. And then it gets stored as experience in the subconscious. Now then you can go ahead and teach new stuff to children. Why? Because it makes it easier for them to make connections with previously learned knowledge. Learning is faster, it strengthens the neuron connections in the brain. Children gain confidence because it has already formed those patterns in the brain on which they can base new learnings. That's why you see we begin right in the kindergarten with Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Row, row, row your boat. A lot of rhymes and stories have a lot of repetition because it helps children in learning. Yes, please take note that repetition should not be done to the point of making a task boring. Whenever you find that a child has mastered a particular skill, move on. Give them a new skill to master. Wonder and curiosity is perhaps what made Columbus discover America. So do not give all answers to children. Keep their wonder and curiosity alive. Ask them a lot of open-ended questions. Why is the sky blue? Why do you think the grass is green? What do you think will happen if the earth did not rotate around its axis? Take a pause in your sentence. Pause so that children can think and speak up. Don't give the questions and the answers at the same time. That's an absolute no-no. And another thing is, break the patterns. Why does the story always have to be Cinderella had to go to a ball? Well, maybe Cinderella had to go to play soccer. What do you think would have happened? How would she have played without a slipper? The thirsty crow. What if the crow was just not thirsty and he just wanted to have some Pepsi? What do you think will happen if the crow had Pepsi? So keep their wonder and curiosity alive through every story, every rhyme, every incident, every talk, every geography fact and every historical fact. Keep their wonder kicking, keep their curiosity going. Now, intonation means the rise and fall of speech. Now, the rise and fall of speech has to be as per the situation, the facts, context and emotion. The lion roared and the mouse was quiet. The wind whistled and the snowflakes fell. So I've seen many stories being robbed of their impact due to poor intonation. And he ran towards the finishing line and he was declared the winner. And he ran and ran towards the finishing line, and yes, he made it. He was a winner. Do you see the difference? So intonation matters. Someone so very rightly said that do not worry if your child does not listen to you. Worry that your child is always observing you. So we need to walk the talk. If we want to teach our children about kindness, then practice kindness. If we want to teach them about empathy, then practice empathy. If there is, for example, a student in your class with a running nose or a learning difficulty, your response is going to decide how children learn to tackle such issues. If you single out the problem, then children learn that it is the problem which is the problem and not the child. If you just walk across and slip a paper napkin or a tissue in the hands of a child who has a cold, instead of saying chichi, children learn how to deal with this issue. Instead of making fun, they're all going to be thinking of a solution, a working solution to the issue at hand. So the way you walk is the way the children will talk. Well, I would say that along with content and strategy, attitude matters. Attitude matters a lot. If children begin to learn the right attitude towards learning, if they start to learn for the sake of learning itself, if they start to learn for themselves and not for the adult, for the guardian, for the parent, for the teacher, for the school, or for the principal, once they start learning for themselves to be better beings, to be able to have more fun in life, to be able to read and write, to be able to travel, to be able to make new friends, that attitude is a killer. If you manage to develop that attitude, then your job is done. And that attitude manifests through your strategies, your energy, and your attitude. So always have a learning attitude, because as I said earlier, children learn what they observe. If they observe you with a learning attitude and a mindset, they are surely going to imitate and imbibe the same. All the best and have a great learning teaching experience.